What's up, guys? Welcome back for another video. So today will be week 6 of flight training. I'll also be going over why I left ATP, both in one video. Figured might as well save me some time, save me some editing, put it in one video, and then I can kind of just go through everything as is. So if you're new here, my name is Luis Rodriguez. I am currently in my private pilot for flight training and loving it, every minute of it. At the time of this recording, I'm actually at 29 hours, so about 30. All right, so moving right into the video. So I'll go ahead and start off with why I left ATP. I did join ATP flight school over in Tampa, Florida for about a month. It was 4 weeks into the program until I left. Kind of the good and the bad of ATP is what I'm pretty much going to go over. A lot of it just kind of boiled down to some personal decisions, feeling whether it was the right school for me, also financial decisions, and just kind of taking everything in as a whole. So let's move right into it. The good things of ATP. I love the structure. They had a very concise and clear structure for their entire program. You know, they have set hours that you are in each stage for your takeoff and landing, for your solo cross country, whatnot. And they kind of break everything down that way. And they also give you, the student, the availability to see, you know, what they have upcoming, and then you get to see your different milestones throughout your training. So I love the structure a lot. It felt a lot like a college, just very fast paced. You know, you're getting a few classes in a week, flight trainings in this example, and pretty much, I mean, it's you and it's a bunch of other students, and you guys have the opportunity to study with each other. You can go home and study on yourself, and whatnot. So I really did like the structure of ATP. Another really good thing about ATP, I would say, is the aircraft availability. So nationwide, between all of their locations, they have over 500 aircraft, plus they have more incoming, and that, you know, really helps out with your flight training, especially because, for example, my new school, we have 2 aircraft at the location I'm at. There's other locations, other aircraft. And for the past week, one of them have been down for maintenance. It's doing its 100 hour right now. So now every student is trying to fit into one plane throughout the times, looking at the availability of your instructors and the availability of the students. And then at the same time, anybody who had previous plans for the other plane that went down has to actually go ahead and, you know, reschedule, or, you know, they're just not going to be able to fly. So ATP was pretty nice in regards to having so much aircraft. The third thing about ATP that I really liked. So what I really liked about ATP, and what seemed very promising at first, was the pacing of the program. They put on their website and advertise it's 7 months from zero time all the way to your to get all your certifications, all 7 of them. Your MEI is the last one, I believe. And then after that, you go ahead and can work as an instructor for them for next, you know, an extra year and a half or so. And then all in all, it's about a two-year program to get your ATP license. And fourth, the really good thing I really like about ATP is their cadet programs and all of the sponsorships and, you know, just partnerships that they have with all these airlines is pretty impressive. It's, from my research, been the most impressive that I've seen. They have over 10 different partnerships with these airlines, and depending on where you're at in the program, you can actually go ahead and apply for these partnerships and basically, you know, join their cadet programs. Now, I was very fortunate in the 4 weeks that I was there to actually get one of these cadet programs, and it was with SkyWest. So they're one of the ones that you can kind of just join. You don't have to have anything prerequisite. You just got to be in flight school and, you know, working towards it. All right, now that was all the good stuff. So moving into the bad stuff, the price is very high. To go from your 0 to MEI, it was $91,000 when I first signed up, and by the time I even finished the program, my 4 weeks in, it was 97,000 for any new incoming students. So went up quite a bit just within a few months. And a lot of these price hikes are actually in part of, all of the aircraft that they're getting in. Those aircraft cost a lot of money. These aircraft cost half to $1 million or more each aircraft. And that being said, their revenue has to come from somewhere. So where do they get it from? They raise the prices for the students. And I was actually watching some YouTube videos, and some other students from ATP just 3-4 years ago were doing the whole entire program for, some of them, 80,000. So within just about previous 5 years, it's gone up a pretty substantial amount. Second thing is that I very much did not like about ATP. They basically are so strict on their fast track program, and they want to get you done within these specified times, these 7 months, 5 months, whatever it is, if you're coming with your private. That if you fall behind at any time, you fail a check ride, maybe you fail 2 check rides, you have just a eval and you fail that, you need some time off. What if they evaluate that you as a student are falling behind and you can't catch up and you can't meet your promising dates, then they're pretty much gonna go ahead and actually drop you from ATP. So you already took out the loan, you already did all of this, and here you are now. You finished maybe halfway through your private, you got halfway through your commercial, whatever it might be. They'll just drop you, just due to random factors like that. And that personally doesn't really sit right with me. I feel like a school should work with you, especially if they're going to be, taking all that money from you. I'm paying for this flight school. I'm paying for my own flight training. So why don't I have more control of it? They have the full control of your flight, training, and that I kind of don't like. Speaking of that, actually moves into my next reason why I didn't like ATP, is they have very, very low flexibility with their students. And what that means is basically you have no time off. You have an option to request time off, but in my example, I actually had a vacation. My sister just graduated high school, and we're actually gonna be going down to Hawaii for about a week. Now, I figured maybe I could take, a little week off of training, especially if I'm ahead of the program or whatnot. But they just kind of always made it seem like, no, like it's very shamed upon. It's just, if you plan on having any time off, just don't even count on it, really. They really want you to be fully immersed into the training. And that actually kind of leads me into my next thing, was that while one of the good things about ATP was their pacing, I would also put that as one of their bad things, because they say that it's about 7 months, which 7 months to get all of your certificates is just very, very quick. And while it is appealing, it's a lot of cramming information. It's a lot of nonstop, to get all that done in that fast pace. You are constantly aviation. You don't really get the time to digest a lot of it. And that in turn, can possibly make you a worse pilot, in my opinion. I'd rather take my time, actually understand everything, really digest it, and then just soak it all in. Unfortunately, they actually don't work with you upon that either. So if you do want to go ahead and, take an extra month or so, that way, you can kind of learn things at your own pace. Like I said, they'll kick you out. They have things very set down pace, and with weather and DP, check rides, waiting on them, there's enough factors that can kind of delay. So I would definitely say that in that term, the pacing can be very bad, especially because honestly, they advertise 7 months, and out of most of the students I've talked to, instructors too, a lot of them don't get it in 7 months. Even they really want, good students that go through the program are getting it done in 8-9 months. And a lot of people elsewhere are, on month 10, 11, 12, 13. So in terms of that, the program can last a lot longer, but if you want it to last longer just for yourself and it's not weather related, they're basically ready to let you go. That I personally don't really enjoy. And overall, a few other bad things that I just kind of didn't really sit right with me with ATP were, after you go through an entire program, you really get your money based off of how many hours you're getting as an ATP student or instructor. It's about 100 hours a month, but they actually don't pay their instructors very well. And basically it's about $18 an hour, and it can range to about 21, 22. Meanwhile, there's other local flight schools that they actually have their own students, and those students, or instructor, are actually getting about 27 on average per hour. So it's a pretty substantial difference, and especially when it comes down to, your loan will most likely start requiring you to pay after you finish your schooling, and now you're in your instructor phase. Now you're at the point where now it's kind of like you're not even making enough money to make your payments. So how are you going to live? You might have to take a second loan. It's just very difficult. And so lower CFI pay is definitely another bad thing. A lot of people do refer to ATP as the flight school boot camp. And it kind of does feel like a boot camp. I like more of a chill environment, fast paced for sure. And I definitely want to get my stuff done as fast as possible, but at my own pace. I'm the one paying for this flight training, so I should be in control of my flight training. And I 110% believe in that. My last bad thing would honestly be a counteract to one of my good things about ATP, and that is aircraft availability. So we have all these planes. Well, at my location, we had about, I would say maybe 10, 12 planes, which was nice, but we had about 80 students. So, when a lot of the students are trying to get the same times, you don't have any control of it. Your instructor's constantly changing your times. You're getting booted off of flights, even though you were prepared all day for it. Maybe you planned dinner at that night and you had a flight in the morning. Well, now your flight's, later at night, and you're gonna have to cancel everything else because either a solo or a check ride came up and, they had to boot you off of your flight. So that kind of sucks. They pretty much play with your schedule 100%. You don't have any control of it. And I personally really, really don't like that. So the aircraft availability can honestly be kind of a pain in the butt, as well. As nice as it may be, it can also be a pain. All right, and final thoughts about ATP and why I left ATP. Basically, I would say it all has to come down to financial decisions and just career decisions. Now, when I did my research initially for flight schools, I actually did really like ATP, and they have really, really good marketing. So I'm sure if anybody searches up ATP or flight school in general, ATP is going to be one of the first ones that pop up. So I kind of, went on their website. I liked everything that I saw, and I joined it. Now that I'm actually in the industry and I'm talking to people, other pilots, instructors, whatever, I'm figuring out, personally, I don't even know if I want to go the instructor route. We'll see. And it's definitely always nice to have, especially because if you are an instructor, it's just going to immerse your learning even more, because for me to be able to teach someone aviation means I have to master aviation. So it's definitely a good thing to have. Personally, I don't know if I want to go all that far into it. Maybe, get my commercial license and then try to get a job and then build my hours that way, part 91 or something like that. But as far as ATP and just kind of going with all of the different certificates and paying so much for it, I don't really think so. I can kind of find a different path, and that will give me everything that I want to do and want to achieve, and for a much cheaper price, and at my own, availability, at my own pacing, whatnot. So that's kind of how I'm thinking now. And I think any student should honestly have the full right to decide what they want to do with their career, what they want to do with their training, what they want to do with their money. So putting all of that into just one school and then just, going ahead full blast into it can be a good thing for some people. And I'm definitely not doubting it. I mean, ATP, I would say, is for sure the fastest way to get into the airlines. Now, for someone like me, I'm pretty young. I don't necessarily need to be fully immersed into it. I don't need to be fully, I don't be in the airlines by this time next year. Like, would that be nice? Of course. But I obviously want to kind of explore the world of aviation. And, a lot of this has taught me that. And that's kind of the path that I'm going down now. And I am so excited. That's pretty much my review of ATP in general and just my experience. Now moving into my week 6 of flight training. All right, so week 6 of flight training. So earlier in the week, I actually had my first solo. That was last Saturday. I had a flight Sunday. That one ended up getting canceled. Florida's, going through some thunderstorms. It's thunderstorm season right now, so flights are getting canceled pretty often. But I have a lot scheduled out, so hopefully I'll be able to kind of still progress with my training and not be too disturbed by it. So I had that flight canceled, and then I had a few days of work, and then I had my second solo yesterday. That went well. However, I actually did bust my first Bravo. So I'm actually training out of Tampa Executive right now. I thought I was in the practice area when I went for my second solo, and I thought I was gonna, go ahead and do some maneuvers. So where this practice area is, just wasn't quite as far as where I needed to be. So that ended up me busting a Bravo. The shelf was a 3,000 foot shelf, and I thought I was in the 6,000 part. So that was just, my fault for not looking at ForeFlight correctly. I double checked like twice, like 3 times. So crazy that I still busted it. But now I know for sure, what the different areas are, and you really got to study airspace because of issues like that. Now, when I got back from my flight, practiced my maneuvers, got a few landings in, all good. I landed, and my instructor was like, "Hey man, you gotta go ahead and call this number." And I'm like, "What do you mean? A number?" So yeah. We ended up calling that number. It was the Tampa approach, and they were super nice about things. I kind of just explained, what happened. I told them that I didn't really understand exactly where I was. I thought I was under the 6,000 shelf, but I was at the 3,000 shelf, and I climbed all the way to 3,600. Luckily, I just kind of went up and then came right back down, so they didn't really, get on me too hard. They just kind of had a friendly conversation, said, be wary about this, take this as a learning lesson, and don't do it again. So that was my second solo, overall good. And then at the time of me recording this morning, I actually just came back from my third solo, and no Bravo busted. I went straight out to the practice area, went ahead and did a bunch of different maneuvers, really dialing all of that type of stuff in. And then I went to another airport, Plant City Airport. It's also untowered, just like Tampa Executive. So got to experience switching my CTAF, comms, and basically just, entering the pattern, doing a few landings, did a few short field takeoffs. That was really helpful. And then, just going right back to Tampa Executive, landing. So yeah, that was my week 6 and my review of ATP Flight School. Now, thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you could honestly go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, that would be very, very helpful for my channel, and also gives me, I love the comments mostly. I love being able to interact with you guys. You know, you guys get to give me videos and ideas on what type of videos I can make, you know, what's helpful to you guys, answer just, you know, questions that you may have. Some of it might be stuff that I went through. Some of it might be stuff that I need to search up as well. So like, I love, you know, really interacting with you guys. I'll go ahead and keep up this series. Next week will be week 7. I have about 4 flights scheduled this week. So we should be upcoming on my last solo. And then I'm going to do cross country, solo cross country. And then, yeah, I think that should be it for this week. So thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you for the next week. Deuces.